In the early days of my ministry here, it was a major accomplishment just to get someone to come to church. But to envision someday having contemporary worship services was way, way out of the box for this congregation. We were at that time an old downtown established traditional church. Many ways, a lot of the new trends were passing us by or had been passing us by for years, especially in the area of worship. And so whenever I came to the church, I began to envision ways of reaching more people. To put it mildly, whenever I began to cast that vision and that dream of having a contemporary service, I met with tremendous resistance from a variety of sources. And so as we began to transition just from having two traditional services to at least attempting a contemporary service, it took a lot of faith, a lot of courage, a lot of persistence, a lot of failure, and a lot of learning by mistakes. But eventually we began to put together this dream, and it began to happen. And in the last few years, it's been amazing how God has blessed our contemporary worship service. And now looking at two, it's just mind-boggling if you go back about 15 years ago when we first started this idea. You cannot succeed in ministry unless you're willing to take calculated risk. You don't bet the farm on any decision you make in leadership, but you have to take risk. In fact, risk is at the very core of believing in a God that's bigger than anything you can begin to imagine. And I just think this is the beginning. And I think you're going to see over the next few years additional services at different times, different formats, with different ministry teams that are meeting even additional needs in our community that maybe no one else is meeting. You know, no one can program God. God's bigger than anything that we can begin to imagine. And so our goal here at First Methodist, whether it's traditional or contemporary, is to be used by Him to reach the very most number of people. And that's who we are, and that's where we'll be. 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 100 years from now, if we're still doing what God asks us to do, it will always be reaching the lost. That's the purpose for every service that we have, is to reach the lost, to give hope to those who come, and to inspire them to be the very best they can be for the kingdom.